Today, we are going to talk about emotions and the human design system. And I love this topic so much because it was actually one of the most helpful things for me, one of the most practical and helpful things for me about the human design system. So it's always helpful to have your chart. And what you want to look at today on your chart is on the right side of the chart, there is a little triangle. Well, it's not that small. It's right on the right side of the chart and it faces left. And that is your emotional solar plexus center in human design. Remember, centers are areas of the chart that are responsible how different kinds of energy operate in our lives. If you have this triangle colored in, that means your emotional solar plexus is defined. And if the triangle is not colored in or it's white, that means it is undefined. And what that means, defined or colored in, means that this is your consistent energy that you broadcast out to the world. It is yours. You have it for your entire life. You send it out, and other people that have that center undefined will pick up that energy from you. If you have this center undefined or in white, then you are more of a receiving dish for this energy. You are picking up the energy that other people are sending out, and you also may be amplifying it. And having the center undefined makes you a very empathetic person. And if you have the center defined, that doesn't mean you're not empathetic. There are other ways in the chart that shows up. However, if it's undefined, you are definitely empathetic. You can feel other people's emotions. You are taking in the emotions that other people are sending out around you all of the time. And it's important to know that about yourself. If you have the center defined, colored in, this is your authority. This is your decision-making strategy. This really impacts how you make the best possible decisions. And all types except for the reflector type can have this authority, and it is about 53% of the population. So this is something really, really important to know about. And just a little personal experience around having emotional authority. I have the center defined. This was so healing for me to learn about with human design. This little aspect in itself just makes the whole, even if I toss everything else aside, just knowing this about myself and how this operates has been incredibly healing. So I am somebody who has dealt with a lot of emotional turmoil in my life, as many of us have. And this can come up for you whether you have this defined or undefined. And I have gone into deep depressions in my life. I've been all over the place emotionally. I have been medicated, the whole shebang. And when I learned about this and how this operates and how to best work with it, my life changed in so many ways. So this matters whether you're defined or undefined, because remember, if you're defined, you are generating this emotional energy and broadcasting it out to the world. And if you're undefined, you're receiving it and you may be amplifying it. So I'll talk about defined first. If you have this center defined, you are creating emotional energy, and it moves in waves. And so the energy you might be down, you might be up, you might be somewhere in the middle. The wave is always moving. And this is like, regardless of what's going on in the world, what's going on will, of course, can affect it, but things can be absolutely amazing and your wave is still fluctuating. Some days you're up, some days you're down, some days you're neutral, regardless of what's going on in the outside world. It's really important to know and understand this because it colors the way that you make decisions. You have to feel your way into things over time, and the way that you experience the world is always going to be influenced by how you're feeling at any given moment. And in human design, they say for people that have emotional definition or emotional authority, there is no truth in the now. And what that means is that truth reveals itself to you over time. To use this as an authority is when a decision presents itself to you, you want to feel your way through it, throughout your emotional wave, and wait to make a decision when you feel emotionally clear. Because if you are down on your wave, something might be presented to you that's actually really good for you and in complete alignment, and it might feel like a no, because sometimes when you're down on the wave, everything feels like a no. And Conversely, if it's presented to you when you're high on the wave, something might come to you that is really actually not good for you, not in alignment, but you are high on the wave, you feel good about life, everything is awesome, and everything is a yes. So obviously, these two places on the wave are not really good places to make decisions. So when you have a decision to make, and this is, obviously for the bigger decisions in life, this is not about, what you're going to wear today or what you're going to have for lunch, but the bigger decisions in life, you want to really feel your way through them and at least sleep at least one night on them. And I will let you know, like, depending on the level of the decision, for me, the bigger the decision, the longer it takes. And you want to just explore, how am I feeling about this as you go through the fluctuations of your wave? And at some point, you will get to a place where you feel neutral, meaning there's not any nervousness or anxiety or uh, where you just feel pretty baseline about it. And it feels like the right thing to do. So you're not overly overjoyed about it. You're not like fearful or afraid or super anxious about it. You just feel pretty neutral. And this is going to be a different experience for everybody when they are emotionally defined, because first of all, we're all defined very differently. And depending on how this little triangle on your chart is configured, you're going to have this experience very differently. And it also ties in with the rest of your chart and your conditioning. So if you want to dive really deep on this, the best way to do that is to have a reading, because that's where you really get to learn how this all ties together. Yeah, so the emotional authority, getting clear over time. Now, the other thing, and this was so beneficial for me, is to remember the wave is always moving and you are not your emotions. You experience your emotions, you experience your emotional wave, but you are not your emotions. And when you are feeling low, it is really important to remember that this too shall pass. The wave is going to move, not taking any actions based on that. Also, not wallowing in it, never asking yourself, what's wrong with you when you're low on the wave? And there's a lot of conditioning out there, especially in the personal development world, about, oh, you need to be happy all the time and your frequency needs to be high all the time. And that's not correct. And it's not true. And it's impossible. We are going to have these emotional moods and these shifts, and that is okay. It's important to know, don't make decisions when you're low on your wave. Depending on how you're configured, you might want to spend alone time when you're low on the wave. It might be an amazing time to be creative. And some of the most incredible pieces of art and music have come out of emotional people that were low on their wave. So it's actually a really good time to engage in creativity if that's something that you really love. And when you're high on your wave, you also want to, sometimes when we're feeling really good, we want to do whatever we can to just stay in that high place. And that doesn't work either. The wave is going to continue to move. So just being present with yourself, observing it, kind of stepping back and just noting, oh, look, there I am down on my wave. Or, oh, I'm really high on my wave. And just noticing without making it mean anything. The wave is always moving. And I highly recommend actually tracking your wave for at least 3 months or so to get an idea of how yours works. There are 4 different kinds of emotional waves, and they operate slightly differently. And again, it's going to be individual. You may have the same wave as somebody else, but you're still going to experience it differently. So tracking 3 to 4 times a day when you first wake up, 1 or 2 times throughout the day. But when you go to bed, where you are on your wave. Are you low? Are you high? Are you neutral? Somewhere in between. And then just looking at that over time. And there are free apps out there where you can do this and it will make a little graph for you. I find this really helpful because you can really look back and like, oh, how my wave fluctuates and just getting an idea of where you are on your wave. So helpful. Being really careful to not, like I said, make big decisions. Also, especially if you're low on your wave, just noting that and really being present with yourself. You want to be careful of some of the things that you say when you're low on your wave, because it's a time where you can say really mean or bad things or horrible things to other people, which is going to really affect your relationships negatively, especially if that person is emotionally undefined. Because once you come up on your wave, you'll have forgotten all about that and everything is great. And the person that you said horrible things to might not forget about that. So you want to be really careful about taking your time, really getting clear on some of the things that you want to say when it's something that's emotionally charged. And this applies to, I really recommend following this if you have emotional definition when it comes to posting on social media. or responding to other people on social media. Like really weigh it out. Like, is this something I really want to or need to communicate? Or is this something that is very much colored by my wave? Really good information to know. In the past, before I knew about human design, I definitely put a lot of things in writing and sent them immediately that I completely regretted later and were very hurtful to the people that I sent them to. So this has been such a huge, huge gift to me to know this about myself. Now, if you have this center undefined or in white, then you are always taking in the emotional waves of the people around you and amplifying them, which means you may actually feel them at a bigger level. So if somebody around you is mad, you might be really mad. Or if they're happy, you might be really happy. And this can become overwhelming. And oftentimes in families, it's the child that has this center undefined that is considered the most emotional one, when really that child is just amplifying the emotions of the people around them that have the center defined. And when you are open in the center, and if you feel really emotionally overwhelmed, you're taking on other people's emotions that are around you, one of the best things you can do is to go off by yourself. And usually in about 15 minutes or so, those emotions will just dissipate. And the things that you have taken in and are amplifying will just kind of melt away. So it's a really good idea to go and be by yourself if you are feeling emotionally overwhelmed. And any center that you have open or undefined in your chart is a place for great wisdom and learning for you. You have the ability to sense what other people are feeling. This gives you a lot of good information about them. And it also gives you an opportunity to kind of flavor, the different emotions that are out there and to get wise about how you want to experience this center. And you also may notice that when you're by yourself and there's nobody around, you might be a pretty emotionally neutral person. So that's always helpful information to know. And with one of my teachers likes to say, when you have the center open, be an emotional screen, not a sponge. And so what that means is you will feel the emotions, just allow them to flow through you. Don't identify with them, and then just let them go. Don't hold on to them, don't absorb them, and most importantly, don't identify them as your own. And all of that is a lot easier said than done, both for people that are emotionally defined and for people that are emotionally open. So it is something to just start to become aware of when you are feeling intense, strong emotions. Are you picking up emotions from somewhere outside of yourself if you're undefined? And if you are defined, just knowing, okay, this is just part of the wave and it will pass. I don't need to act on it. I don't need to judge myself about it. I don't need to try to suppress it or hold on to it. I can just let it pass. There is so much more to be said about the emotional solar plexus. This is one of my favorite subjects, so I'm sure there will be plenty more episodes about this in the future. For now, that is all. Thank you so much for listening. And if you do want to go deeper into this, I invite you to book a reading with me. I would love to explore your solar plexus with you, whether you have it undefined or open. It will definitely, how it's configured will affect how you experience these emotions. So I will leave a link for that in the show notes. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
If you want to dive deeper, I invite you to get a free human design mini reading report at vanessanaja.com/free mini reading, or book a human design reading with me. Links are in the show notes. That's it for today's episode. I know your time is important, and I'm so grateful you chose to spend it with me. It would mean the world to me if you engage with the episode by liking, subscribing, commenting, and letting me know any questions you have or what else you'd like to learn about. And the absolute best compliment is if you share with someone you think will benefit. It really helps me spread the message. Love and blessings to you.